Hi guys, you're welcome back to Laravel Homestead. This time we're going to be installing and configuring the Homestead Vagrant box. So after you might have installed the Oracle Virtual Box and you've also installed the Vagrant, you need to install the Homestead, which you actually be using Laravel to install that. So in this particular installation, you need to have gone through the composer. That means you must have composer and you must have Laravel installed via composer. So for you to know that if you actually have let me just clear this out. For you to know if you actually have composer, I need to exit from here. I need exit. Sorry about that. Let me create a new terminal. So for you to know if you have composer installed, you just type in composer. Mine is actually installed. I have composer version 1.3.1. but if you don't have composer, you need to go through the step. You have to actually install composer via the getcomposer.org. So you actually have some steps to follow to actually have composer installed right in your machine. My internet is somewhat slow, but I will actually wait for that to load up. And as well, you need to find out if you have Laravel installed in your machine. You must have done that because I have a tutorial that covers how to install Laravel via the PHP that's on your own server. You first of all install PHP, you configure your PHP environment, and you install Composer, and from Composer you get to install your Laravel. I've actually done that. You can get that in my tutorial of how to install Laravel on the Linux operating system. And if you actually want to test that if Laravel is right installed on your machine, you just type in Laravel version. You have it Laravel installer 1.3.3. That's the installer that you have right running on this particular machine. So I'll implore you to go through that video how to install Laravel in the Linux operating system. That covers the installation of Composer and covers the installation of Laravel via Composer. So this time you need to install the Homestead. So you actually need to issue out this command: Vagrant box add Laravel Homestead. Just this way. Let me clear this out. Paste out. Once you run this, it's actually going to create a folder called Homestead right in the directory that you actually install from. I'm actually installed from the home directory. Sometimes it's going to take some while. It's going to take some minutes depending on the kind of internet you're using. But just keep steady. Don't be in a hurry to cancel out if you see it getting slow. But because you actually need to complete this step. Without completing this step, you can't have Homestead server running on your system. So you actually have to exercise patience for this to run. And if you encounter any failure error, you just have to go back to Vagrant. Probably if the Vagrant installation is not up to date. So if you after installing the Homestead, you actually need to clone the Homestead repository, which is sitting right in Git. You consider cloning the repository into a Homestead folder within your home. You would have created a folder, so you just change directory to the folder just like this. After doing this, you now cd change directory to Homestead. You create a folder called Homestead. You change the directory to this Homestead. Change the directory to this. So you actually, first of all, you need to install Homestead inside the Laravel, which you have to do with the Vagrant box add Homestead. After that, you create a folder called Homestead, which you can see right there. This over here. Sorry for saying this, the folder that is going to be installed. No, this actually is a folder you create to actually pull the Git repository of Homestead inside its folder called Homestead. The installation done earlier will be installed inside Laravel, which you have to install the box to Laravel. That's cool. So you have to issue out this command git clone inside the directory Homestead. Just paste it out there. So you clone the github.com laravel homestead.git inside the Homestead directory. So that's just what that depicts. So after doing that successfully, you will have to run the bash initialization. You have to initialize this. So inside the Homestead directory, to keep inside that directory, is you run this initialization. So with this initialization, that's when you have the homestead.yaml file, and this YAML file is very important, and you get to see the hidden directory of the Homestead. You can actually see that over here. I'm going to show all hidden directories using Ctrl H on Ubuntu. You actually go to see all hidden directories. You can see this is .homestead, which will be created when you initialize. You can have the homestead.yam file. This file is very important. This is where the configuration will actually get done. You know, very important file. You have opened it with a text editor. You need to open it with a text editor because we need to do some configuration in it. So if you are using Windows, you have to run the init.bat, which is over here. And if you are running Mac or Linux, you run bash init.sh. So after that, you need to configure the homestead.yaml file. I know this file indicates which Vagrant provider should be used. You actually see that right there. If you should notice, the provider is VirtualBox. So if you are using VMware, it's going to point that, and if it's not pointing appropriately, you just have to edit that to point it correctly. So the provider should be specified. Either you're using VMware, or you're using Parallels, or you're using VirtualBox. Now we need to configure shared folders. You know, this is a list of all the folders you wish to share with your Homestead environment. As files within these folders are changed, they will be kept in sync between your local machine and the Homestead environment. You may configure as many shared folders as necessary. These are the folders where you have it at map / that means the directory where it sits, which is in the home. A code, so there's a code folder which you need to create. I'll tell you on how to do that because there's something you need to do on that before you get the Vagrant up done. After that, you can enable NFS, you know, which you're going to add a simple flag to your sync folder configuration, just like having this. So you just like replicate this inside your homestead.yaml file. After that, you may also need to pass any options supported by Vagrant in your sync folder by listing them under the options key. These are all optional. They are all optional because you may not need to pass any option key, but you may need your folders, which is set appropriately right there. And after that, you can configure nginx sites, whereby you can have this done with the sites item where you map to the homestead.app. That will be the domain that will be running. So you don't have any other domain pointed to your application. You only have the home page of your application bearing homestead.app. And where is your site going to? It's actually going to sit in the Vagrant /code /Laravel /public. That's the default. You can decide to edit this, but it's better you keep to the default settings right in the homestead.yaml. We have the host, which is also very important. The host file, which is the homestead.app. So the IP address invariably changed to the homestead.app. But for you to actually set that, you need to set the host IP in your machine, which we're going to be doing very quickly. I'll show you how to actually do that. You have to move to the directory etc/hosts in the Linux operating system. If you are using Windows, you move to the Windows folder which sits in the C drive, system 32. If it's 64, it should be system 64 /drivers for /etc and /hosts. But right there on the Linux operating system or on the Mac operating system, just go to your command prompt. Now you're going to take away this. You type your sudo I get gedit, which is the edit software right installed in Ubuntu /etc/hosts. Actually going to bring it out. You need a sudo permission to do that. Public. You notice this is the hosts directory, and if you notice, I have the IP placed inside the 192.168.10.10, which is the homestead.app. You need to register this in the host file. Once you do that, you save. Once you save out, you get it saved and stored right there inside the host directory. So you can easily cancel this out. If you should notice the IP right in the Laravel documentation, so you need to copy this as you've seen, and you paste it right inside the host directory, and you save it out, which you're seeing right there. So once you save it out, you're good to go. And after that, you can point your project to the homestead.app and it's going to run. But you need to install the Homestead server per project application. Once you've done some editing here and there, instead of installing Homestead globally and sharing the same Homestead box across all of your projects, you may instead configure a Homestead instance for each project you manage. Installing Homestead per project may be beneficial if you wish to ship a Vagrant file with your project, allowing others working on the project to simply Vagrant up. After you might have created the Homestead successfully, have you done it, you can easily say Vagrant up based on the Homestead source that you downloaded or that you cloned from Git. So you can easily issue out Vagrant up here, but I will show you how to actually install Homestead server into your project, because you would have created a project using the composer to create a project, a working project, and you need to install the Homestead server inside the project, so that the project will be using the server instead of using the PHP server that you might have on your PC. So let's quickly look at how to bring up the Vagrant right in the Homestead folder that you clone from Git. So you can easily say Vagrant up. It's going to bring up the server and it's going to start up the server inside the Homestead folder that you created. You can see it, bringing machine Homestead 7 up with VirtualBox provider. Is a party base. It's going to actually do a lot of input and output. So you must get to this level. You must be able to Vagrant up the server. If you're not having issues, if you're having problem here, just leave a comment right there in the comment section of this particular video. I'll be there to assist you, to help you out in sorting out any error whatsoever. Basically on the Ubuntu operating system or Linux operating system, and maybe Windows, but not for Mac, because that is not actually my primary strength. I'm actually a Linux person. So that's fine. You can see it's actually going through some progress, 70%, and you actually wait for it to finish, so the server will be started, and you can see a lot of things going on, even the pre-boot customization. Now it's booting the VM, it's starting up the VM, and it's getting the authentication method as the private key, and the username is Vagrant. There's a private key you may need to create in the course of installing or setting up Vagrant. If you have any issues, just let me know, and I will be there to assist you all through your successful installation of Homestead in your machine. So you now have the server set up, the MySQL database has been started. The Also the Homestead .app has been achieved. Now you have it started up, so you must have something of this nature. If you're not having it, you need to get back to where the error is. So after doing that, I will teach you on how to bring up the server right inside your application or right inside your project. That's per project installation. Now you need to kill this. Let's kill this. Let's destroy the machine so that we'll be able to use it somewhere else. Vagrant, destroy, force. So we're actually shutting down the VM, and we've actually destroyed the Vagrant app. After that, let me just clear this so we have a clean slate. I'm going to move out of this directory, or I'm going to change directory to the new project which I created. If you're following with my Laravel for beginners, I created a project called new project, and you can as well do that from here, where you can create project using Composer. So you just create a project, the preferred distribution with Laravel, which is going to be the name of the project here is blog. So you can as well name your project any name, and you should know where the path that it's actually residing. So after doing that, I've run that command, and I have this project right sitting in the home directory called new project. Can you see it here, new project? So right there in the new project, for you to install Homestead by development, you need to run this Composer require Laravel / Homestead development. So you have to run this inside your project that you've created, just like this. So you have to run this. So after running this, I've actually run that. You will still have the homestead.yaml file inside the directory. Let's get to look at that. You can see the homestead YAML file inside the project directory. You're going to actually have that. After doing that, you need to run the PHP vendor make. You need to make the project. You use PHP to do that, which is actually going to trigger from the PHP. Once you paste this, you have to make the homestead. So once you've finally run this particular command inside the project, you can easily bring up your server by using Vagrant up. Inside the project created. Can you see it? So this is how to actually create to install Homestead into your machine, and you bring up the server, you use it. It's very complete. It's a complete form of development environment whereby you get to do a lot of things. So you don't worry yourself about PHP, you don't worry yourself about creating a MySQL DB, don't worry yourself about some other functionalities. You just focus on your source code, and Homestead is going to take care of all server functionality. So that's just what Homestead does. It's a very complete package from Laravel, and I will implore you to just stick and get yourself acclimatized. Make sure you are able to, can you see that it's right inside my project? So this is the server that we'll be using from now henceforth in the Android basics, where I'm actually right there in the basics. We're about to start up the database. We'll be looking at the database, how to use the Eloquent and do some other database creation of tables, use data binding and do a lot of sort inside Laravel. But from now henceforth, we'll be using the Homestead environment instead of the PHP server, which we actually have on our PC, or if you have that installed somewhere. If you're using Windows, you have it installed as a different package, But if you're using Linux, you can actually incorporate PHP right inside the Linux using your sudo to actually download the PHP version. And if you are using Mac as well, just the same thing applies to Mac. Mac is just in a kind of just say in a par with Linux operating system. And this is just how to actually get yourself running with Laravel Homestead. And see it, my operating system has actually boots. And if I would like to visit the Laravel.app right there in my machine, you see it's going to actually bring out a page of my working directory, which I actually use. I think no, it's Homestead. Let me get it clearly. I think it's homestead.app. You get to see it running. You can see it actually brought the pages that I was working with in the Laravel basics. And you can actually see the services that I've created, which is actually going to pop out an alert, and this is how it works. So you don't need to type in an IP, just move to the homestead.app and it's just going to work right cool. So this is just how to go about the installation and configuration of Homestead server in your Laravel application and also in your machine. Basically, I'm using Linux operating system, which is Ubuntu, and I implore you to get yourself running with this. And if you have a question anywhere that you might find it very hard to do, probably you need to generate a key, or your installation is not just up to date and you're having some errors whatsoever, just leave a comment and I'll be ready to help you out with it. Thank you very much for hanging out with me throughout this tutorial, and have a wonderful time, and always subscribe to my channel. Bye bye for now.